Have you ever noticed the silence after a conversation when someone says, "I'm fine," and you know they're not? The words left unsaid, they're the ones that keep you awake. She thought about it again last night. That conversation, 3 days ago, her friend said, "Everything's good," smiled, changed the subject, and she just let it go. Because that's what you do, right? You don't push. You respect boundaries. You assume people will talk when they're ready. But lying there in the dark, phone screen dimmed, she kept replaying that moment. The pause before "I'm fine," the look in her friend's eyes, the way the smile didn't quite reach. As she realized something, she'd been having surface conversations for months, maybe years, not just with her friend, with everyone. Her sister asked how she was doing. Busy, she said, or crazy, which was true, but also not the whole truth. Her coworker mentioned feeling burned out. She nodded, said, "I get it," moved on to the next task, because there are deadlines, meetings, things that felt urgent. But that night, when everything was quiet, she wondered, when did she stop saying what she actually meant? When did everyone else? It's not like she was lying. Nobody was lying. It's just, somewhere along the way, real conversations became exhausting. It felt easier to keep things light. "How are you?" "Good, you?" "Good." Repeat. A script everyone knows by heart. Safe, simple, empty. The thing is, she wasn't unhappy. Her life was fine. She had friends, a decent job, paid her bills on time. From the outside, everything looked normal. But at night, in that space between scrolling and sleep, she felt it. A strange kind of loneliness. Not because she was alone, because she was surrounded by people and still felt unseen. Here's what nobody tells you about growing up. You learn to hide, not on purpose, not consciously, but slowly. You learn which parts of yourself are too much, which feelings make people uncomfortable, which truths are better left unsaid. So you edit yourself. In real time, every conversation becomes a performance, a carefully curated version of who you are. The version that fits, that doesn't burden, that keeps things smooth. And everyone else is doing the same thing. All of you, performing politeness, pretending everything's fine, while the real stuff, the messy stuff, stays locked inside. She remembered her grandmother once told her something, years ago, before she passed. The hardest part about getting old, she said, is watching people become strangers. At the time, she didn't understand, but now, she got it. People don't disappear. They just drift, not because anyone did anything wrong, just because real conversations stopped happening. And without those, what's left? Small talk, weather, work, safe topics that keep everyone at arm's length. She started thinking about her own life. How many conversations had she had this week? Dozens probably, but how many actually mattered? How many went deeper than the surface? 0, maybe 1, and that one she'd pull back from, because her friend said, "I'm fine," and she didn't push. Because pushing feels intrusive, uncomfortable, like you're crossing a line. But here's the thing. Sometimes, "I'm fine" is a test, not a manipulation. Just a quiet way of asking, do you actually want to know? Or are we just being polite? And when you accept, "I'm fine," at face value, you're giving an answer. She wished she'd asked one more question. "Are you sure? You seem off. Want to talk about it?" Something, anything, instead of just moving on. The silence between their words. That's where the truth lived. And she'd ignored it, because it was easier, because she was tired, because maybe she didn't want to hear something heavy. And that realization hit hard. She wasn't just talking about her friend anymore. She was talking about herself. How many times had she said, "I'm fine," and hoped someone would see through it? How many times had she kept things surface level, because going deeper felt too risky, too vulnerable, too real? It's safer to stay shallow. You can't get hurt that way. Can't be rejected. Can't be too much. But you also can't be known. And that's the loneliness. Not being alone, being unknown, even to the people closest to you. She thought about her last conversation with her mom. How's work? Fine. How's everything else? Good. Okay, well, call me if you need anything. And that was it. A 5-minute call. Surface. Polite. Empty. Her mom probably hung up thinking everything was fine. And technically it was. Nothing catastrophic was happening. No crisis. No emergency. Just the quiet struggle of existing. Feeling stuck. Feeling disconnected. Wondering if this is all there is. But those aren't things you say on a Tuesday afternoon phone call. Those are 2 a.m. thoughts. The kind you keep to yourself. Because they sound dramatic in the daylight. But at night, they feel true. She started noticing it everywhere. The silence between words. Her coworkers saying, "I'm fine," with exhausted eyes. Her sister texting, "All good," with 3 exclamation points. Too many. Her dad saying, "Don't worry about me," which really meant the opposite. Everyone performing okay, while privately, barely holding on. And the worst part? She was doing it too. Smiling through stress. Saying no worries when she was worried. Pretending to have it together while her mind was chaos. Because that's what adults do, right? You handle it. You don't complain. You figure it out. And if you can't, you definitely don't talk about it. But that night, lying there in the silence, she wondered, what if she stopped performing? What if she just said the truth? Not dramatically, not as a cry for help, just honestly. "I'm struggling. I feel stuck. I don't know what I'm doing." Would people pull away? Think she's too much? Or would they finally see her? She didn't know, but she was tired of the distance. Tired of surface conversations that went nowhere. Tired of feeling alone in a room full of people. So she decided something. Small, quiet, not life-changing, just different. The next time someone asked how she was, she'd pause, actually think about it, and answer honestly, not dramatically, not dumping everything, just real. And the next time someone said, "I'm fine," she'd ask one more question, gently, "You sure?" Because maybe that's all it takes. One person willing to go deeper, to sit with the uncomfortable silence, to hear what's not being said. She texted her friend. Simple message. "Hey, thinking about you. Wanna talk?" 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then, "Yeah, actually, you do." And just like that, the silence broke. Not with a grand gesture. Not with a dramatic conversation. Just 2 people deciding to be honest. It wasn't easy. Her friend cried a little. So, did she? There were pauses. Oh, guard moments. Things that felt hard to say, but it was real. And real felt better than fine. That night, she fell asleep easier. Not because everything was solved, but because she felt seen. And her friend felt heard. And that was enough. If you're listening to this right now, at 1 a.m. or 3 a.m., or whenever you can't sleep, and you're thinking about conversations, words you didn't say, silences you didn't break, you're not overthinking. You're aware, and awareness, that's the first step. You can't change what you don't notice. The silence between words isn't always bad. Sometimes it's respect. Sometimes it's patience. But sometimes it's fear. Fear of being too much, too vulnerable, too real. And that fear, it keeps us lonely, even when we're not alone. So maybe, just maybe, the next conversation, you go one layer deeper. Not forced, not pushy, just honest. Ask one more question. Share one real thing. Break the script. Because the truth is, everyone is performing. Everyone is saying, "I'm fine." And everyone is hoping someone will see through it. Maybe that someone is you. The silence you feel at night is not emptiness. It's awareness. An invitation to stop performing, to be seen, to see others. Real connection doesn't require big moments. Just small honest ones. one conversation at a time, one truth at a time. And maybe that's how we find each other again, in the space between the words. If this felt familiar, if you've ever felt the weight of things left unsaid, you're not alone. Subscribe for more quiet stories, for nights when your mind won't rest. Stories like this, for you.